She built an empire on stolen diamonds and blood money, and the police took their cut every week. If you're fascinated by crime, power, and the untold stories that shaped America, stay with this one, because it changes everything you thought you knew about organized crime. New York City, Lower East Side, 1850. A woman steps off a steerage ship at the docks. Fredericka Mandelbaum, 25 years old. German immigrant. Jewish. She weighs close to 250 pounds. 6 feet tall. She has traveled from Kassel with her husband Wolf. They carry almost nothing. The Lower East Side is packed. Klein Deutschland, Little Germany. Central European immigrants crowd every street. Peddler carts line the sidewalks. German, Yiddish, broken English echo through the alleys. Fredericka starts selling lace door to door. Rags, cheap fabric. Her husband opens a small dry goods shop. The money barely covers food. By 1854, they own a building. 79 Clinton Street, corner of Rivington. 3 floors. A ground floor becomes their store. Wolf runs the front. Fredericka works in the back. But the shop is not what it appears. A man named General Abe Greenthal visits the store. Veteran thief. Professional fence. He sees something in Fredericka. He teaches her how to appraise jewelry, how to weigh gold, how to spot quality silk, how to price stolen goods without leaving a trail. Fredericka learns fast. Women come to the shop, shoplifters, the best in the city. Fredericka offers them a deal. Steal for her. She will pay fair prices. If they get arrested, she will post bail. No questions. The women agree. They steal silk from textile warehouses, diamonds from wealthy homes, jewelry from department stores. They bring everything to 79 Clinton Street. Fredericka pays them. Then she sells the goods to tailors in Albany, dealers in Buffalo, merchants in Cincinnati. She has agents in every major city. The operation grows. By the 1860s, Fredericka Mandelbaum is no longer just a fence. She is a criminal architect. She does not wait for thieves to bring her goods. She orders specific items. A client wants French silk. She sends her crew to steal it. A buyer needs diamonds. She plans the job herself. The storefront at Clinton and Rivington becomes the center of New York's underworld. Thieves, burglars, pickpockets, they all report to Marm Mandelbaum. That is what they call her now. Marm. Mother. She dresses in black silk gowns, sealskin cape, bonnet with ostrich feathers. Diamonds cover her hands, neck, ears, rings, bracelets, necklaces, brooches. Behind the shop, hidden rooms hold bars of gold, scales for weighing jewels, safes filled with cash. The police know. Everyone knows. But Fredericka pays them every week. Precinct captains, beat cops. She keeps them all on payroll. Tammany Hall politicians receive envelopes. District leaders get their share. She operates openly. The New York Times will later call her the nucleus and center of the whole organization of crime in New York. In 1869, a man named George Leonidas Leslie approaches her. Former architect, now the most skilled bank robber in America. He has a plan. Ocean National Bank, Manhattan. He has studied the building for months. He knows the vault, the locks, the guard rotations. But he needs funding, equipment, a crew. Fredericka listens. She agrees to finance the job. 10% of the take. Leslie assembles his team. They spend 3 months preparing. On the night of June 27, 1869, they enter the bank. No alarms, no guards. They crack the vault. Inside, cash, securities, jewelry. They take everything. Total haul, $768,000. The largest bank robbery in New York history. Fredericka receives her cut. She fences the securities. The jewelry. The stolen bonds move through her network. Albany, Boston, Philadelphia. The police investigate. They find nothing. Fredericka expands. She no longer just fences goods. She orchestrates heists, bank jobs, warehouse burglaries, jewelry store robberies. She runs a training school for criminals. Young thieves learn their trade in rooms above her shop. She teaches them how to pick locks, how to crack safes, how to work as a team. Her empire stretches across state lines. Warehouses in New Jersey hold stolen merchandise. Safe houses in Connecticut shelter her crew. Contacts in Canada move goods across the border. On March 18, 1875, Wolf Mandelbaum dies. Fredericka is now a widow, 50 years old. 4 children to support. She does not slow down. She increases operations. The police protection continues. The politicians stay bought. Her network grows stronger. By the late 1870s, Fredericka Mandelbaum is handling between $1 and $5 million in stolen goods annually. She lives like royalty, hosts elaborate dinner parties at her Clinton Street residence. Politicians attend, lawyers, businessmen. They eat at her table, drink her wine. They know what she is. They do not care. She donates to synagogues, gives money to immigrant families, funds community programs. The neighborhood loves her. But things are changing. Crime in New York has reached epidemic levels. Newspapers demand action. Reform politicians gain power. The Pinkerton National Detective Agency receives a contract. Alan Pinkerton himself takes an interest. His motto, "We never sleep." His son, Robert Pinkerton, begins investigating Fredericka Mandelbaum. It is 1884. Fredericka is 59 years old. She has operated for over 30 years. She believes she is untouchable. Robert Pinkerton does not agree. Robert Pinkerton assigns an agent. Gustav Frank, German speaker. He will go undercover. Frank creates a cover identity. Shady silk dealer, looking to move stolen merchandise. He approaches Fredericka's network carefully. Months pass. Frank makes contact with her associates. He proves himself. Small transactions. He pays fair prices. Asks no questions. By early 1884, Frank meets Fredericka directly. She invites him to her shop on Clinton Street. They discuss business, silk shipments, quality, pricing. Frank plays his role perfectly. He offers to buy large quantities, high-value goods. Fredericka agrees. The transactions begin. Frank documents everything: dates, amounts, descriptions of stolen goods, witnesses. New York District Attorney Peter Olney works with Pinkerton. They build the case carefully. On July 22, 1884, police raid 79 Clinton Street. Fredericka is inside. Detectives push past her. They search the shop, the back rooms, the upstairs floors. They open her safe. Rings spill out. Chains, bracelets, silverware, diamonds the size of peas. Gold bars stacked in hidden compartments. Scales, ledgers. Gustav Frank identifies himself. Pinkerton agent. Fredericka stares at him. Then she punches him in the face. Officers grab her. They place her under arrest. Possession of stolen property. Receiving stolen goods. Grand larceny. She is taken to the precinct. Booked. Fingerprinted. Her lawyers arrive within the hour. William Howe and Abraham Hummel. The most expensive criminal defense team in New York. She has kept them on retainer for $5,000 a year. They post her bail immediately. Fredericka walks free that afternoon. The newspapers explode. Front page headlines. Queen of Thieves arrested. Mother Mandelbaum finally caught. Crime boss faces justice. The trial date is set. September 1884. Fredericka returns to Clinton Street. Her lawyers prepare her defense. They plan to argue entrapment. They will attack Gustav Frank's credibility. They will call character witnesses. But Fredericka knows something her lawyers do not yet understand. The evidence is overwhelming. Frank documented everything. The Pinkertons have receipts, witnesses, physical evidence. For the first time in 30 years, Fredericka Mandelbaum faces real consequences. Her lawyers present another option: leave the country, jump bail. Canada has no extradition treaty with the United States for this type of crime. If she reaches Ontario, she will be safe. Fredericka considers this. She is 59. Her children are grown. Her husband is dead. She makes her decision. Days before the trial, Fredericka disappears. She crosses into Canada, settles in Hamilton, Ontario. She brings cash, jewelry, enough to live comfortably. The trial proceeds without her. The judge issues a warrant. The bail is forfeited. Fredericka Mandelbaum becomes a fugitive. The newspapers rage. Crime queen escapes justice. Mandelbaum flees to Canada, New York's most notorious criminal at large. But there is nothing authorities can do. Canada will not extradite her. She remains in Hamilton. New York moves on. Other criminals fill the void. The network she built fragments. Her associates scatter. Some are arrested. Others continue operating. But without Fredericka's organization, without her connections and protection, the operation collapses. Her storefront at 79 Clinton Street closes. The building is sold. In Hamilton, Fredericka lives quietly. She rents a house, keeps to herself. The local newspapers report that she lives well. Like a princess, one article states, but she is isolated, cut off from her family, from her community, from the city she built her empire in. Years pass slowly. By the early 1890s, her health declines. Paralysis sets in. She becomes bedridden. On February 26, 1894, Fredericka Mandelbaum dies. She is 68 years old. The Fall River Daily Evening News publishes her obituary. Old Mother Mandelbaum is dead. The article notes that the Queen of Crooks had lived like a princess since she escaped from New York. Her body is prepared for transport. She returns to New York in a coffin. The funeral is held in Queens. Union Field Cemetery, Ridgewood. Her family has purchased a plot. A small crowd attends. Family members. A few old associates. Some neighbors from the Lower East Side. Rumors circulate that pickpockets work the funeral. That even in death, Fredericka Mandelbaum attracts criminals. She is buried quietly. A simple headstone marks the grave. The newspapers publish final retrospectives. They calculate her career, 30 years of operation, millions of dollars in stolen goods, hundreds of criminals in her network. The New York Times revisits her story. They interview detectives, police captains, lawyers. Robert Pinkerton gives a statement. For 25 years, Mrs. Mandelbaum carried on a most successful business as a receiver of stolen goods. She was as adept in her business as the best businessmen in the city. District Attorney Olney calls her the most successful criminal in American history. But there is another legacy. Fredericka Mandelbaum proved something that the male-dominated criminal underworld had never seen before. A woman could not just participate in organized crime. She could run it. She built systems that later gangsters would copy. Meyer Lansky studied fencing operations. Arnold Rothstein used similar methods. Lucky Luciano organized crime families the way Fredericka organized her thieves. She was decades ahead of them all. The Lower East Side continued without her. Clinton Street rebuilt. Rivington Street changed. New immigrants arrived. Italian, Irish, Eastern European Jews. Crime persisted. But it evolved. The methods Fredericka pioneered, protection payments, political corruption, organized theft rings, professional fencing operations, became standard practice. She created the blueprint. By the 1920s, Prohibition-era gangsters ran bootlegging operations the same way Fredericka ran stolen goods. Speakeasies replaced safe houses. Liquor trucks replaced silk shipments. But the structure remained. Pay the police. Buy the politicians. Organize the workers. Control the territory. Fredericka understood something fundamental about American crime. It is not chaos. It is business. She treated theft like trade, robbery like retail, criminal enterprise like corporate structure. She maintained inventory, managed supply chains, cultivated customer relationships, invested in talent development. Her school for criminals above the Clinton Street shop trained generations of thieves. They learned professionalism, discretion, technique. She paid fair prices. She kept her word. She protected her people. This earned loyalty. Not fear, loyalty. When police raided her shop, neighbors warned her. When investigators asked questions, witnesses remembered nothing. When she fled to Canada, her network helped her escape. She built trust in a world built on betrayal. The diamonds she wore, worth over $40,000 in her time, represented more than wealth. They were a message. Crime pays. If you are smart. If you are organized. If you are disciplined. The political connections she maintained showed something else. Power respects power. Money buys access. Even criminal money. Tammany Hall politicians took her contributions. Police captains accepted her payments. Lawyers kept her on retainer. She was not hidden in shadows. She was visible, known, accepted. This is what made her different. She did not hide what she was. She made what she was acceptable. Society hostess, philanthropist, community leader, crime boss, all at once. Her dinner parties mixed legitimate businessmen with active criminals. Lawyers ate beside burglars. Politicians drank with fences. She normalized criminal enterprise. By the time later gangsters built their empires, the model existed. Fredericka created it. Al Capone would run Chicago the way Fredericka ran the Lower East Side. Meyer Lansky would launder money through legitimate businesses the way Fredericka moved stolen goods through respectable dealers. But they had one advantage Fredericka never did. They were men. Fredericka operated in an era when women could not vote, could not own property in their own name in many states, could not enter most professions. She built her empire despite these limitations, or perhaps because of them. Police did not suspect women. Society did not take women seriously. Criminal networks underestimated women. Fredericka used this. Her appearance, heavy, matronly, draped in black silk, suggested domesticity, safety. She looked like everyone's mother. This was armor. Behind the appearance lived a calculating mind. She assessed risk, managed operations, built networks, accumulated power. The men who worked for her respected her, not despite her gender, because of her competence. She paid better than other fences. She provided better protection. She planned better jobs. Professionals want to work with professionals. Gender becomes irrelevant. George Leonidas Leslie chose her to finance the Ocean National Bank job, not because she was the only option, because she was the best option. Leslie was the premier bank robber in America. He could have approached any number of criminal financiers. He chose Fredericka. This says everything. When the Pinkerton agency finally brought her down, it required their best agent. Months of undercover work, coordination with the district attorney, a carefully planned raid. They treated her like a serious target, because she was. The fact that she escaped demonstrates her resources. Fleeing the country requires money, connections, planning. She had all three. Hamilton, Ontario became her exile. Comfortable exile, but exile nonetheless. She spent her final decade away from New York, away from the city she had controlled for 30 years. This was the real punishment. Not prison, separation. She died far from home, but she returned for burial. Even in death, she came back to New York. Union Field Cemetery in Queens holds her grave. It still exists today. Researchers visit it. Historians photograph it. Crime enthusiasts make pilgrimages. The headstone is simple. Name, dates, nothing about her career, her empire, her legacy. But the legacy exists anyway. Every organized crime structure that followed her used her methods. Every criminal empire that came after borrowed her innovations. She proved that crime could be organized, that criminals could be managed, that illegal enterprise could be systematized. Before Fredericka Mandelbaum, American crime was opportunistic, random, disorganized. After her, it became methodical, structured, professional. She transformed criminal activity from individual acts into corporate enterprise. This is why she matters. Not because she was the biggest, not because she was the richest, not because she was the most violent, because she was the first to organize crime as business, the first to run criminals as employees, the first to treat theft as industry. Meyer Lansky called himself the mob's accountant, but Fredericka was the first accountant, the first manager, the first CEO of crime. She invented the position. Every godfather who came after her walked a path she cleared. Every crime family that formed used structures she designed. Every protection racket that operated followed patterns she established. She built the foundation. The men who came later built higher, flashier, more violent, but they built on her foundation. 79 Clinton Street no longer stands. The original building was demolished decades ago. New structures occupy that corner. Rivington and Clinton have changed completely. But for 30 years, that address was the center of New York's underworld. Everyone knew it. Everyone feared it. Everyone respected it, because Fredericka Mandelbaum operated from there. A German immigrant, a Jewish woman, a mother of 4, a widow, America's first organized crime boss. The police eventually washed the blood away. They arrested her associates. They dismantled her network. They claimed victory. But the model remained. The system persisted. The blueprint survived. Fredericka Mandelbaum died in Hamilton on February 26, 1894. Her empire died years earlier when she fled. But her methods lived on in every crime organization that followed. New York would never be the same again.